The sea has always kept its secrets. For centuries, sailors have whispered about places where the ocean itself seems alive, where strange lights appear without warning and voices drift across the waves even on the calmest nights. Among all these legends, one lighthouse stands above the rest. It sits alone on a jagged cliff, surrounded by endless gray water, abandoned for decades and feared by everyone who knows its story. The locals refuse to speak its name after sunset. Fishermen sail miles out of their way just to avoid seeing it on the horizon. They believe the lighthouse is cursed, and that anyone who dares spend a night there never returns the same. But is it only an old legend, or is there something waiting inside those weathered stone walls? Stay with me until the end, because what happened inside this lighthouse still has no explanation. And if you enjoy mysterious stories inspired by forgotten places and chilling legends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become part of our growing community. The lighthouse was built more than 200 years ago on a lonely stretch of rocky coastline. It was meant to protect ships from dangerous reefs hidden beneath the dark waves. Every evening, as the sun disappeared beyond the sea, the keeper would climb the narrow spiral staircase and light the massive lantern. From miles away, sailors could see its warm glow cutting through the thick fog, guiding them safely home. For years everything worked perfectly. The lighthouse became a symbol of hope for everyone who crossed those waters. But then strange things began to happen. The first keeper reported hearing footsteps above him while the lantern room was empty. Every night, just after midnight, someone seemed to walk across the iron floor, slowly circling the light. When he rushed upstairs, there was never anyone there. He blamed exhaustion and said nothing. Weeks later he began hearing whispers carried by the wind. The voices sounded as if dozens of people were calling his name from the sea. He searched the shoreline every morning, but there was never a single person nearby. Soon the nearby villagers noticed something even stranger. The lighthouse light would sometimes shine during violent storms even when the keeper claimed he had never lit it. Other nights, when ships desperately needed guidance, the light disappeared completely, leaving sailors lost in darkness. Several vessels crashed into the rocks, and survivors swore they had seen ghostly figures standing near the lantern, silently watching as the waves swallowed their ships. One freezing winter morning, rescuers climbed to the lighthouse after the light had failed for 3 nights in a row. Inside, everything looked normal. The firewood was stacked neatly. The dinner table was prepared as if someone had been about to eat. The lantern was polished. But the keeper was gone. There were no footprints leading outside, no signs of a struggle, and no clue explaining his disappearance. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Another keeper was hired, determined to prove the stories false. During his first week he laughed at the local legends. But on the 7th night, he wrote a letter describing strange knocking sounds coming from inside the stone walls. Every evening the knocking came closer. He claimed shadows moved across empty rooms, and cold hands touched his shoulder whenever he climbed the stairs. The letter ended with one chilling sentence: "Something here does not want me to leave." It was the last anyone ever heard from him. Years passed, and more keepers disappeared or abandoned the lighthouse in terror. Some survived long enough to tell their stories. One man claimed he saw a woman dressed in white standing on the rocks below during every storm. She never moved, never waved, and never looked away from the lighthouse. Whenever he tried to reach her, she vanished into the mist. Another keeper insisted he heard children laughing inside the empty building despite living there completely alone. Eventually the government closed the lighthouse permanently. Officials claimed harsh weather and expensive repairs were responsible, but many believed they simply wanted to hide the terrifying truth. Since then the building has remained abandoned, slowly crumbling under rain, wind, and crashing waves. Even today, adventurous explorers occasionally visit the old lighthouse. Many bring cameras hoping to capture evidence that the curse is only a myth. Yet almost every visitor leaves with a story they cannot explain. Batteries suddenly drain. Compasses spin wildly. Footsteps echo through empty corridors. Some people hear someone breathing behind them, only to turn around and find nobody there. Others report seeing the lantern glowing late at night despite the building having no electricity for decades. One photographer spent an entire evening documenting the ruins. His camera worked perfectly outside, but every picture taken inside the lantern room came out completely black. Just before leaving, he looked back and saw a figure standing at the highest window, watching him silently. Believing another tourist had arrived, he waved. The figure slowly raised its hand in return. When he checked the building moments later, every room was empty. A group of paranormal investigators once stayed overnight hoping to solve the mystery scientifically. Their recording equipment captured strange whispers that no one remembered hearing during the investigation. One voice clearly repeated the words, "Keep the light burning." Another recording contained what sounded like distant screams mixed with crashing waves. None of the investigators could explain the sounds, and several refused to return. Historians later uncovered old records describing a terrible shipwreck that happened before the lighthouse was ever built. Hundreds of passengers were trapped as their vessel smashed against the hidden rocks during a violent storm. Rescue boats never reached them in time. Local legends claim the lighthouse stands exactly where the victims' desperate cries echoed across the sea. Some believe the restless spirits still search for the guiding light they never received. Whether these stories are true or simply the result of fear and imagination, no one can deny the strange reputation of this lonely lighthouse. Decades have passed, storms have come and gone, and generations have grown up hearing the same chilling warnings. Yet the mystery remains unsolved. On certain foggy nights, fishermen still report seeing a bright light shining from the abandoned tower before disappearing without a trace. If no one lives there, who keeps lighting the lantern? Perhaps some places remember the tragedies that happened within their walls. Perhaps the sea never truly gives back the souls it claims. Or perhaps there are mysteries in this world that are never meant to be explained. If you enjoyed this mysterious story and want to explore more haunted castles, abandoned lighthouses, forgotten ruins, and terrifying legends from around the world, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Until our next journey into history's darkest mysteries, remember, not every light is meant to guide you home.